All right, gang, welcome back in. This is Hexy. Let's wrap up the afternoon of the 30th scenario, the second Battle of Bull Run from August Fury Multiman. The game was supposed to, in the scenario book, was supposed to go till 8 p.m., but I didn't believe that the Confederates would need all that much time to get a victory here, so I only ran it out till 5. So it started at noon and ran to 5 p.m. Everybody knows what happened on this day. Jackson held off at the railroad cut, literally to the point of throwing rocks down at the Union soldiers. And then Longstreet crashed into the left flank of the Union Army and just kept rolling up, kind of like another Chancellorsville. So let's update on the map here as we close this out. You'll see Jackson is still in control of the railroad cut. He was attacked twice. Third Corps from the Army of the Potomac, Heintzelman, who actually was being successful, but then you have this thing called Corps attack stoppage. They failed it. They had to withdraw their attack to a certain distance away and then try to get new orders, which they did get new orders to attack, but they never got a chance to enact on them. Reno and the 9th Corps, I never really did get to the point of decision on what to do with them. We know that the 5th Corps of the Army of Potomac and the 3rd Corps of the Army of Virginia, their initial attack was to parallel Warrenton Turnpike and then crash into Jackson's right flank at the railroad cut. They did start that attack. They started to develop it. They had a very good mass force, but then Longstreet, waiting over here in the woods, crashed into their flank and just completely disrupted that. Now, the Union I did not have to do an emergency retreat order. I was able to successfully get them orders that took a half an hour, and they accepted them. They accepted them with a delay of 1. And the boo-boo that I made, which you're supposed to roll, because I just now come back to playing this series, I did not roll. I took it as a 1-turn delay. But there is a chart for orders, and when you get it, when you roll on this chart here at the bottom there, whatever you come up with, like the D1 or D2, you got to roll a die each turn to get them to accept those orders. And you can see how hard it is. You got to roll a 1 or a 2, or you got to roll a 1 if he gets a D2, okay? So, but I went ahead, and I don't think it really mattered. So, Longstreet, so the 5th Corps of the Army of the Potomac I ordered them to retreat back here and set up a defense between Matthews Hill, this ridge on Matthews Hill, and the Chin Ridge. And then for the 3rd Corps, McDowell of the Army of Virginia, to get on front of Chin Ridge here and set up a defense, which they've gotten back there. Longstreet took initiative because his initial order was to attack through the Groveton Crossroads here. And then I needed to give him more orders to attack down the turnpike, driving towards the Stone House. Everybody should know about the Stone House. And he successfully accepted them, or he passed his initiative and was off and running right off the bat. So he never missed a beat. Everybody was in command. The Confederates commenced to push in their attack, and that's the game ended at the 1700 turn. I think it probably would have been more punishment for the Union because now Jackson's right side and middle could pull out and join the attack too. So we ended it there at 1700, and here's how the results went. We will take a quick glance at the combat losses. I didn't get the total numbers, but I'll show you how it worked out in the victory. And as you can see, it's pretty devastating for the 2 Union armies that were on the field. If you don't know much about this, you had Pope in charge of the Army of Virginia. And I believe McClellan was still in charge of the Army of the Potomac. And I think it was McClellan that made the comment, let Pope get himself out of his own mess, instead of really getting there to help him out. Because 2 armies together, that could have been a different story. Just the fact that McClellan allowed the Confederates to completely circle around him and get there anyhow is, I don't know, doesn't say much for McClellan. So, or was it McDowell? No, I think it's McClellan. But anyhow, you can see the numbers. You can see the brigades that went into wrecked mode. The wrecked mode for brigades does have an effect on the game, and there's a sort of a modified version of it for the victory points, which I'll explain here in a minute. But they got beat up pretty good. You can see all those slashes and colored in circles. Colored in circles, that's KIA. They're not recoverable or captured. The slashes are just stragglers, which is I think that's a pretty good rule in this game. Confederates, not nearly. They had one brigade that was wrecked. Excuse me, and it's by stragglers. So let's get my little score sheet out here. And here's how this ended up. So the Union total losses, permanent losses, 101 boxes filled in. So that's, what, 5,500? All right. And the Confederate boxes completely filled in, 58. So what's that, 30 something or other, 3,000 something maybe. And, I should have counted up all the stragglers because the losses, I would say the Union losses with stragglers were almost going to be double that 101 points. Confederates probably not so much. Maybe another third of that 58. So the difference in that came to 43, which is 10 victory points for the Confederates and loss differential. 50% wrecked brigades in a single corps. All right, the 5th Corps of the Army of the Potomac had 4 of their 6 wrecked. So that is 50% or better. So the Confederates got 5 victory points for that. And then there was one terrain feature that was worth victory points, and that's the railroad cut. And as you can see, Jackson still owns that. So that's 5 victory points for the Confederates, which ended in 20 victory points, and that is a Confederate major victory. A massive victory would be the ultimate, but they needed 6 more points for that. Had this fight kept going, I got a feeling they would have gotten it. So then again, you never know. The Union could have bloodied them because the Confederates were about to run into their cannons over there anyhow. So that's how the afternoon of the 30th ended in August Fury by Multi-Man. All right, this was 1990. This is the second game in the series. Third game in the series. And we're going to be moving on to the next one, which is going to be Chickamauga. I was looking at the scenarios, and unfortunately, none of them are one mappers. So I'm going to set up both maps, but we'll be moving on to that here shortly. All right, so there we go. That's 2 scenarios I played in August Fury from the Second Battle of Manassas, MMP 1990, Civil War Brigade Series. And this one ends up in a Confederate major victory, and probably would have gotten worse had I let this thing go to 8 o'clock at night. All right, this is Hexy. We're going to get this one posted so y'all can see what's going on with it. And, hey, you know the deal. Give me your comments below. Let me know what you think about this and what your thoughts were on this fight. Talk to y'all soon.